What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow? Welcome to another episode of the What If Tomorrow podcast. I'm Philip.
And I'm Mark.
Man, tonight we've got a fun show, I think, in keeping with the holiday tradition of Halloween. I mean, we've been running this Halloween series over on the Fringe, but tonight we're going to bring it to this show because we're talking about maybe what are the odds of governments being in place to kind of control the world's population. Yeah, we're gonna do a dive down that, and we're gonna discuss this conspiracy theory, which I don't know that it's a theory. There's some pretty compelling arguments with all this going on. First things first, though, check us out, whatiftomorrowmedia.com. We've got all our affiliates over there. Duke Cannon, My Patriot Supply, EMP Shield. We got our merch over there, but we have a new thing going on at the bottom of the screen. You can see it. It's Buy Me a Coffee. You know, if you guys want to support the show, but you don't want any other stuff, I mean, I think it's like $5 or something like that to buy us a coffee. You know, that'll help support the show. So we'll leave a link down there for the show, and we'll share it in the show notes for those of you that aren't watching but are listening. So yeah, it's buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow. I mean, that'll help support the show as well too. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Let's move on. First things first, though. Here we go.
What in the wide world is going on here?
Yeah, we're going to talk news. Every day it's changing. Every day there's more junk out there, and we're here to kind of cover it a little bit. You know, week to week, kind of things that have happened, and hopefully you guys are in the mind and paying attention to what's going on out there that affects us. And a lot of it kind of ties in with tonight's topic as well. So, Mark, you already have stuff pulled up. I'm going to kind of run off of.
I got some interesting stuff. Pelosi is saying that inflation is worldwide, and we need to change the cost of living, not inflation. Okay, so let's become the Weimar Republic and just crash the economy. She also says Republicans are making a mistake by saying that if they win, they will stop money going to Ukraine, labeling them pro-Putin. I'm sorry, if somebody is stealing my money that I'm sending them, I have the right to say no. And the guy is laundering money, and it's ended up in Pelosi's pocket. I will almost bet you. Well, I will bet you. I would bet all the money I've got in my pocket, which is, probably $1.50.
But, yeah. I mean, absolutely. What?
Let's see. We have 3,500 NATO military headed to Lithuania. Also, NATO is building up a presence in Poland. And OPEC admitted that the U.S. and G7 nations threatening sanctions is to blame for the cap on oil production, and prices will go up after the election.
Well, of course. I mean, it's all by design. If you look, right now we are looking at all of this stuff going on. They're falsely propping up the economy. The president is draining our oil reserves, or our strategic oil reserves. He's draining the crap out of them to artificially keep the oil prices down because of his failed policies. If you don't agree with me, that's fine, but the proof's in the pudding.
Their policies are working. That's the problem.
Right. And if you don't believe me, I mean, go look at the statistics from day one when he took office. Oil has skyrocketed.
It's like $90 a barrel right now. It was $30 a barrel when he took over.
Right. Now, could it be argued that, COVID had a lot to do with the oil prices dropping, supply and demand, basic economics? Yeah, I guess
That
it
is
could be.
true. Yeah.
But to keep them down because of these environmentalist policies, and this also ties in with tonight, I mean, they are doing this crap for a reason. Is for one, it's their agenda, and we've talked about it hundreds of times, with the World Economic Forum, basically turning everybody into slaves. Serfs is what they're pushing for.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful in that aspect because people are starting to wake up. And I've got an article that I want to share here as soon as we get done talking about this. Actually, it ties right in. You mind if I move on with it, Mark?
No, go ahead.
There was a focus group CBS News put together, bipartisan. The host. I'll read the headline. Focus group stuns CBS News host with bipartisan agreement on nearly every issue. None of you are very optimistic. Quote unquote. Margaret Brennan, moderator of CBS News, Face the Nation, was shocked Sunday with a bipartisan focus group agreed woke policies are bad news for children. In fact, the focus group essentially agreed with one another on every issue. What happened? When Brennan asked the group for their biggest concern about raising children in America, they agreed it is the far left woke culture. All these elementary schools and middle schools having woke culture pushed on them from the LGBT plus community for sexual identity and gender. We should be pushing the actual school studies, math, social studies, science, not gender studies or sexual identification, John, a Republican, said. LaShawn, a Democrat with 8 children, agreed. I can also agree with some of his points. I really want to say sex education. I feel some things, are brought to the children's attention they wouldn't even think about, LaShawn said. The children, they're really influenced. You can teach them one thing at home, but when they go to school, they're just as much influenced by their teachers and their surroundings. We should have more input, the parents, of what we want them to learn. I agree, Stephanie, an independent voter responded. The group also raised concern over various other issues, especially the economy. Stephanie described the state of the economy as scary. LaShawn called it unstable, and John condemned it as horrible. You have to just adjust. It's not the heating, the cost of living, the electricity. Everything is just really hard. LaShawn said of high inflation and economic woes. The panel also said crime, immigration, and impacts of COVID lockdown policies are among their top concerns. Their feelings, in fact, confirm what the polls show. The majority of Americans are not worried about abortion rights, but the economy, crime, and immigration issues that affect everyday life. Okay, I'm going to backtrack just a second. Where'd it go here? You hit where she, LaShawn said you have to just adjust. It is not the, heating, the cost of living, the electricity, everything it's just hard. Then they talked about the abortion and all this crap that the left is throwing in our faces as supposed to be priorities are not priorities. These are people that came into agreement that these are the issues at hand, not this crap that's being pushed on us and trying to get us, they're gaslighting or whatever. They're saying, oh no, because again, I've heard it said a million times, you tell a lie tell the lie long enough, people will start to believe it. And that's absolute truth. Anyway, moving on. How did Brennan react? The moderator expressed shock over the group's agreement despite their ideological differences. Often when we do these focus groups, we have people from different party affiliations disagreeing with each other, Brennan said. But I'm hearing all of you echo a lot of the same concerns and agreeing with each other, she observed. None of you are very optimistic about the country right now. Well, no. Because Brennan is part of this problem. I heard a poll the other day, and I don't remember the numbers, and I'm not going to take the time to look it up. If you want to look it up, that's fine. About the poll. I mean, and I don't put a lot of stock in polls. I want to set that out front first. But this poll was talking about, who was the bigger problem, whether it was a Biden or was it Trump or was it the Democrats, was it Republicans? The biggest problem this poll pointed out was the mainstream media.
I believe it.
I do too. Absolutely.
I absolutely believe it.
And this shows you right here how disconnected the mainstream media is from the general public.
The mainstream. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, it just goes to show you what we've been talking about. The mainstream media and the far left have moved so far left, they've left most of the country stranded in the middle going, what the actual F?
Yep. Chris Wood, absolutely. The media. Yeah. I mean, they have no trust with the population.
No,
I don't get the news that we share. I don't get it from the mainstream media. I get it from sources that I trust.
And even some of those are corrupted.
Oh, absolutely, they are. I will not disagree with you in the least. But it blows my mind, man. I mean, these people are so far out there that I mean, to me, it sounded like shock. She's like, "Oh, you guys are just negative," No, we live real life, and that to me is key. Because people are realizing this is all bullcrap. This is all against us.
Yeah.
The powers that be are against us, and there's nobody coming to help. So we have to help ourselves, and really
help each other, left, right,
exactly.
or whatever.
And that is kind of where we come from in this show. If you're new to the show, or if you've been listening for a while, I hope you guys agree. We try to come from a position of realism, being realistic with this show. Hey, we might disagree. We're going to disagree in some instances. I can't say Mark and I agree on things 100%. I mean, we're damn close. I'm not going to lie. But we all have our own differences.
Absolutely. That's what makes
But that's what makes us strong.
Yeah. We cover for each other's weaknesses. We cover for each other's. That's how it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to be fighting each other all the time. And they have intentionally set the left and the right, who really aren't that far apart, against each other for 2 decades now. Most people are in the middle, or what used to be the middle. Now they're identifying the middle as the right. It's not.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not us against them. It's everybody against the powers that be. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I think you. Did you lose me for a second?
I think I lost you for a second.
Hello?
Yep, there you are.
Did you lose me or did I lose you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I had to.
But that's the point. They know that.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say I had to go with my regular internet provider.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say that the point is keeping us divided because they know that we're weak when we're divided. But what I enjoy, and it kind of gives me a little bit of hope. I don't want to give out what Frank Jacob calls hopium, which I need to get a hold of that guy and get him on. He's got some pretty cool stuff. But it gives me hope that people are waking up. Is it too little too late? I don't know. I can't say if it is or isn't.
Time will tell.
Right. But I can't, it does. It makes me feel better about where we're at as a nation when I'm seeing people that have been totally divided for decades starting to realize, hey, the other side's not so bad.
Yeah.
Sure, there's lunatics on both sides. I won't deny that at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to say everybody agrees with me. You can't say that. But the key is finding what we agree on. I mean, if you're pissed off about how much you're paying for gas, I'm pissed off on how much I'm paying for gas. That's a start. We can come together, say, okay, what do we do to fix this, or how can we fix this? And then we start trading ideas. That's what we're based on as a nation, trying to come to that compromise to strengthen us as a nation. That's what
Find
it's
the middle
about.
ground that makes us stronger together.
Right. You're not going to like everything that I propose. I'm not going to like everything you propose. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and tell you the other any different. But it's the truth. So I think this is a great start. I really do. Okay, people are feeling the economic pain. Yes, it sucks. I'm not going to lie. Everybody's feeling it. But there's so many people in denial. Not the general populace is not, because we feel it. You spend more on groceries or gas, or you may have to cut something out because I'm spending too much money in gas, so maybe I don't let my child play soccer or basketball or whatever, football or whatever. Maybe I back them out so I'm not hauling them around so much. Maybe we find an alternative to save money.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta start cutting. And if you're not, well, I pray you are. Because I think things are going to get worse. I truly do. And really, I think as bad as weird as this may sound, I think we started our show just over 2 years ago. We did take a pretty good hiatus about a year ago. I mean, we did take a hiatus. We had a lot going on. I'd lost my brother just over a year ago, and just kind of we took a long break. Regrettably, in my case, I mean, the show wasn't a huge priority, and in reality, it's a hobby, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I really do. I would love for this to become a full-time job, but on the other hand, I don't want it to be a job.
No.
But I feel we were inclined to get this show going because I feel there's something pushing us to that. Get the word out, speak out, because I don't know how long that we're going to be able to speak out.
No,
if you look at what's going on, if you look at what's going on, the number of people that are being shut down for freedom of speech, we covered it here a few episodes ago with the FBI and all that crap being weaponized. And I mean, if they can do it to them, they can do it to us.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But I'm willing to stand in the gap as long as I possibly can. We've been censored.
Force us not to.
Right. We've been censored by YouTube. We have other options. We absolutely have other options. If you guys would follow, that would be great. But if you don't follow, that's fine too. We'll rebuild. So be it. Until they come out and just pull the cord and say, no, you guys are done. And then trump up a bunch of bull crap. Because as far as I know, I mean, well, there's so many freaking laws on the book. They can get you for something. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. There's more laws on the book than anybody could ever know that was against the law. Hell, I didn't know.
Right. Yeah, shit. Well, then the first thing the judge says, well, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well,
did you know it was against the law?
Did you know it was against the law? Well,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm okay. I'm going to step down off my soapbox here for a second. Go for it, man. You got something else?
If it makes you feel any better, they probably won't shut us down. They'll probably just shoot us and everyone around us.
Well, what you used to say, if you wind up dead,
If I wind up dead, it's not it's not suicide, it's Hillary.
right,
Now it's the talking heads. So we got
right.
a couple
Anyway,
more news stories, and then we can talk
yeah, go
about
for
our
it.
regular. Well, this is a big surprise. Uh, a media research center is saying that Google uh, sends emails to spam despite company insisting algorithms are unbiased. So if you're a Republican or a conservative of some other stripe, um, they are doing their best to make you not see what they don't want you to see.
Right.
So that's no surprise. Everybody knew that. Duh. Superintendent defends bringing sex working anarchists to school. That's lovely. I'm not even going to read that. I'll just get mad.
Yeah. See,
Um,
this plays into the rest of our show. Oh,
it
we'll go
does.
into that shortly.
It does. Oh, this one's good. Saudi crown prince reportedly mocks president behind his back, including questioning his mental state. Well, duh. Everybody's questioned his mental
The
state.
whole world. Have you seen the videos from around the world?
They're making fun
Like
of
Sky
him left and
News?
right.
God, yeah. Y'all, I'm not going to take the time. I don't want to give him the time. But if you want to look up all the different new, like Sky News from Australia, all that, they give
Mhm.
like a daily update on Biden's freaking mental state. They do. We are the laughing stock of the world.
We are. I do have
Just
some good
crazy.
news. I do have some good news.
What's that?
The McDonald's McRib is coming back for a farewell tour.
Dude, you know what?
Again.
Here again, yeah. It's
I
probably
love the
the
McRib.
same. It's probably the same ribs from 20 years ago. That's why they're just running out
It
of that
probably
batch.
is.
That's probably the farewell.
They don't rot. They can stay on the shelf
Yeah,
forever.
probably.
I loved them though.
I don't ever go to McDonald's, right? Ever. I don't, and I don't know how long it's been since I've been to McDonald's. Up until I don't know, it's been a couple of weeks ago. We were my wife and I and my two little ones. We were going over to an auction, look and see what they had, and went up with a pig and all that stuff.
I was surprised it didn't come back with an alpaca.
That wasn't quite discussed. No, Willie. Oh, heck yeah. I don't know what it is, but heck yeah. Yeah, brother. We went, I asked the kids, hey, what do you guys want to eat? What do you guys want for breakfast? It was kind of early in the morning. They're like, well, let's try McDonald's, Dad. All right. Cause I don't take them I rarely take them to McDonald's. I think it's been like a year since I've been there. And it's all right, fair enough. And I went through the drive-through. My wife, she didn't want anything. I ordered a couple sandwiches for me. That was it. A couple egg McMuffins, whatever. And I got the kids a couple of like sausage McGriddle value meals. Cost us $30, man. I'm like, this isn't freaking fine cuisine. This is crap. And they're charging us $30 for it. Willie said, I've only ever had it once. Thought it was pretty gross, which is a lot for a man like myself who enjoys food to say. I feel you, brother. I do.
I'm a weirdo.
But I don't know. I just don't go there very often. But I'd rather have real ribs. I mean,
True.
throw them on a smoker for a while and let her go. I'd rather have them.
I hardly ever go to McDonald's anyway, but I did like them.
I don't either. Let's see. Willie said it's crazy how much it costs these days.
Oh yeah, I can go to a nice restaurant for the same price.
Now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I want to run down some of this stuff on Facebook. We've had some pretty good posts on Facebook. I know you've had one with the Fed's race to take down the S&P 500 and break the world. That was pretty interesting to me.
That was a good article.
If I can bring it up all. Here we go. As the Federal Reserve, as the Federal Reserve hastily withdraws the powerful tide of easy money that kept the U.S. economy buoyant through the worst of COVID, the deepening bear market for the S&P 500 and other stock indices is revealing, as Warren Buffett family says, who's been swimming naked. The Fed's fastest rate hike since the early 1980s and the unprecedented pace of balance sheet tightening has been wrenching for U.S. investors, but the sudden dearth, I guess, I think there's a typo there, but the sudden death of liquidity is wreaking even greater havoc via international currency markets. With global recession looming and Vladimir Putin threatening to resort to nukes, investors are finding safety in the highest U.S. Treasury yields in 13 years. The endless flow of cheap dollars, which whetted risk appetites and afforded low borrowing costs around the globe since 2008 financial crisis, is now rushing back to the U.S., pushing the greenback to 20-year highs. That's exacerbating inflation outside of the U.S., forcing most central banks to follow the Fed's lead to protect their own currencies and make their economies even sicker in the process. Though evidence of financial fragility is growing, Fed policymakers seem determined to continue their interest rate hike sprint until something actually breaks. So that tells me they're trying to break it.
That's what it looks like.
I mean, there's more of the article. If you want to read the rest of it, go to our website or our Facebook group, What If Tomorrow podcast group. Mark posted it up. There's a good article. It really is.
You know what's sad, though?
What's
They
that?
can fix the economy in about a week.
Huh?
All they'd have to do is lift all the restrictions on drilling that they put in when they took power and reopen production of these pipelines. And in a week, we would notice a difference.
Yeah,
And in a month, it would be a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, sure,
And
it's
they
going
know
to
it.
take time. Excuse me. It's going to take time to get rebooted. I mean, that's obvious. But when you get the speculators involved, that's what drives the economy is the speculators, which is
Yes.
mine. I'm not a financial guy, so I may be wrong, but it's my understanding that the speculators are what drives the market.
A good deal of
If
it.
they
Yes.
know, yeah, if they know that there's more coming, then they're going to speculate ahead of time, lower the prices. But I mean, like, again, I'm not an economics guy. I'm really not. I understand basic economics, but when you start going deeper than that, I'm not the guy
You're
to
doing
ask.
better than our lawmakers. Absolutely better than our lawmakers. They have no clue. Well, they do, because who do I take the handout from? Oh, I'll do what they say.
Right. Oh, is it Pfizer giving me the money? Yeah, I'll take it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all crooked.
Oh,
Bunch of
absolutely they are.
thieves.
Yep. There's a lot of good articles, but I kind of want to break off into tonight's topic. But there's a lot of good articles that have been posted up on the Facebook group here in the last week or so. Go check them out. A lot of good ones. I mean, we've got one we can wait for. I guess Weird News Wednesdays about lab grown brain cells learning to play Pong that may be sentient. Then there's.
Did you see the 3D printed meat?
I did, man. That looked disgusting. You guys go check it out. If you're not a member of the group, go to What If Tomorrow Facebook group and check it out. I mean, there's an episode, or there's a Joey Peters posted a list or a video of 3D printed meat.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I would rather go. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on what it's made out of.
I mean, I don't know if they're growing it in a vat and then printing it to make it look normal. No.
Maybe.
Maybe no.
Yeah.
Maybe for Army meals. The Marines can have the real meat, right?
I've probably. Willie said that meat was gross. Fun fact: the original prototype was that the was the McRib over there at McDonald's.
Yeah, very much. Well,
he put You put enough barbecue sauce on it, it's great, man.
Well, you put
Barbecue
enough
sauce and
barbecue
pickles.
sauce on it, you can eat them flip flop.
I think I'd rather have a flip flop.
Looks less disgusting than that.
Right. Then you get into I don't know, all this what is it? What is the new one? It's all vegan or vegetarian crap, and it's all in the damn meat counter. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this belongs
is
in
not
another
meat.
place.
This is
And
not
what's
meat.
funny is there's hardly I don't see how it's selling because there's hardly any of it gone.
Okay, here's my question, and it's been asked before. If vegetables are so good, how come they're trying so hard to make them look and taste like meat?
Exactly. Right. They have a place. Vegetables have a place. They absolutely do.
On the side of the plate.
On the side of a plate next to a big, fat, juicy ribeye. I mean, they do have a place. I'm not gonna lie, but
you and I need to go to prime rib night over here at this restaurant.
I'm game. I'm sure
Yeah.
my wife is too. She loves prime rib.
They're big. They're bigger than some
you
of the
talking-
roasts I've been buying lately.
Are you talking about down at the truck stop?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we went down. It's been a while. It's been I don't know, 6-8 months since we went down. That's like the first time I'd been in there, and it was good food, man. Good like country cooking, man. It was really good. And we had a prime rib. It was good, but the best prime rib, and I wish they had it open back up again. I mean, because we've ate a lot of different places around here that served prime rib, and it was good. But when the casino down in Bartlesville, the Osage Casino, had their buffet going, it was prime rib and crab nights on the buffet. That prime rib was freaking awesome, and it's on a buffet. You can eat all you want.
I'm making an admission on how, if this is going out internationally or whatever, I have never set foot in a casino, but I
What?
would for prime rib.
I'm telling you, dude, that was better. That's probably the best prime rib that I've had at that casino on a buffet. It's seasoned perfectly, and it's amazing, man. I mean, you walk over there, you can tell them how much you want. My wife always, she loaded up on the crab legs. How do we always end up on food on this show?
I don't know. Hey, did you see where they canceled crab season?
I did. Didn't we share that?
We might
I think we shared that, didn't we? Yeah, I did. It's kind of disappointing because that means crab's going to get more expensive. But yeah, they had down there. They have crab legs and prime rib. I mean, surf and turf. I mean, you can't go wrong with surf and turf. Absolutely, you can't.
Absolutely not.
And yeah, it was good, man. I mean, we would, like I said, the wife would load up on crab legs, and she'd never had crab legs until we got together. And she's an addict. She's an addict now.
Do not stop at the Red Lobster. Must not stop.
Right. So now all the time, because we went to Red Lobster here a while back, it was last year, and I started feeling like dirt, man. I mean, it's when I had the flu last year after we had COVID, and and it was like last winter. She and I had went over to Joplin to make a Sam's run because there's not a Sam's Club within 30 miles. I mean, you got to drive 60 miles minimum to get to a Sam's Club. And we went over to Joplin, and we said, it was just us. I mean, my little ones, I think they were with my mom. And so we stopped at Red Lobster, and I got the fish and chips, and she got crab legs, of course. And man, I just started feeling like dirt. And I couldn't hardly eat. And I was like, God dang, I just feel like crap. And then that's when I came down with the flu last winter. Like, geez. And I don't know. I mean, I love good seafood. I do. And unfortunate we live in Kansas.
As far away from the ocean as you can get.
Right. I love Kansas. I love Oklahoma. But for fresh seafood, you got to go to the coast, man. That's the best seafood around. You can't get any better.
You're making me want to visit my cousins in Louisiana now.
Oh, dude. We've already had this discussion about Cajun food. Anyway, I think we need to push on to the next topic.
We do. We need to
Um,
get on to the main project.
Yep. We're talking population control. Are all of our governments worldwide, not just ours alone, because if you look at all of the policies that are coming out from all these different nations,
And have been around for some of them been around for a while.
right? Are they trying to control the population? You know, the Georgia Guidestones, all of that stuff. Willie, Willie, that spice stove. Love some Cajun food, dude. Love some Cajun food. All these, okay, and this may be a little touchy, but if you look at the climate policies, if you look at our policy right now over in Eastern Europe, are they trying, you know, our energy policies? I think an argument can be made for all of these that they're trying. As I say, they as in the people running all these nations,
The people pulling the strings for all these nations.
Right.
We know who that is.
And right, and it points back to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. Are they trying to control the population? Are they trying to reduce the population? You know,
I think
if
they
you
are.
remember if you remember the Georgia Guidestones said maintain a population no more than 500 million people, and here we are running a what 8 or 9 billion now. I don't remember the world population now. But are they trying to control the population? Are they trying to reduce the surplus population? Because you know Putin is talking nuclear weapons. Obviously, I mean, they say we're not, but I don't trust our government, which is no secret. But they say that they would not respond in kind with nuclear weapons. I think they would probably not have a choice.
I think that's correct.
Because if they don't respond the first time and just start laying, I mean, let's think about it logically. Let's say Putin launches a tactical nuke, which isn't a super high yield nuke. Okay, for those of you that don't know,
it's a battlefield nuke.
Right, it's for the battlefield. It's to wipe out. You know, it's to wipe out the enemy on the battlefield. And that's it. Okay, so we respond with overwhelming force. What's the next play? He launches a more powerful nuke. It's not going to deter him. If he's already used a nuke, you think that's going to stop him?
No.
It's going to back him into a corner to where he's going to say, let him fly. Let him go.
He's an old man.
Right.
He don't care.
He don't give a crap.
He's already dying.
Right. Ours is the same. And that's what's crazy is all this crap's being ran by senile old people.
Senile old men who don't have a thought in their head.
No. You know, so okay, so he responds, letting the birds fly. So what do? We fire right back. You know, I'm not saying this is 100%.
No, but that's the ultimate doomsday scenario.
Right. And then you look at, and okay, China's a player, Iran's a player. Iran's sending people up to Ukraine to help Russia. You've already got your Axis powers. Yeah, Iran and China are in bed with Russia. So China is going to run into Taiwan. That's a given. We don't have the military strength to fight a war on two fronts.
No, we sure don't.
And I can't consciously say to anybody, you know, and I've said it here many times, I love my nation. I love my country. That's why I served. That's why everybody I know who served. I'm not saying anybody who didn't serve doesn't love their country, but that's why I did. But I consciously could not recommend anybody go in the military right now because the whole woke left bull crap, and
Yeah,
that's
it's a shit
exactly
show.
what it is being crammed down the throat of all the military people. And I've got really good friends that have been in there for 20 plus years. Most of the guys I serve with are retired now, but there's still a few there. But they're there for the to finish out their tours, you know. And I would say they're probably some of the most sane there. But I couldn't recommend anybody to join because of all the bullcrap that's going on. Now, that's one aspect of possible population control. Let's look at another. Well, how do I? We've gotten flagged for this once. How do I say
Just use
this?
code V and C.
the V ends with an "een." Is that another one? If you look at the number of people below 39 that are mysteriously dying or having severe heart problems at a young age, I'm talking 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. Look at all the Air Force and airline pilots who've had to retire because of heart problems caused by the V word.
Right. I truly believe that's a part of the goal. That's my personal belief. I'm not trying to push on anybody. But looking at evidence that I'm seeing, I need to bring up VAERS if it's even accurate anymore. But looking at all that, okay, let's look at well, can I say it? Can I point this
Probably not.
individual out?
You probably should have.
Let's say the former owner of Microsoft. How I didn't say his name.
I'll hope that works.
I hope. But if you look at what he's pushed and pushing, he's pushing right now. I mean, in the news, I think last week, he was pushing a program to dim the sun.
Yeah.
To dim the sun. What happens? Sure, right now, I mean, where Mark and I live at, we're in a drought. They're saying it takes 12, it's going to take 12 to 15 inches of rain to get us back to normal. They said around here, they said we are drier now than the Dust Bowl in the 1930s.
Thank goodness for windbreaks and
right.
The trees that were planted after the Dust Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah. But okay, they're saying that he wants to do this to lower the average temperature of the earth. Which if you go back scientifically, you know, follow the science. If you go back through the recorded history, this is all a cycle. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. 100 years ago, nearly, it was this dry. We've had dry spells before.
We'll have dry spells again.
Right. I mean, we have a spring just down the road from me that I've never seen not produce water, but it's dry. It's not producing. But if you're going to artificially try to, okay, here's a buzzword, you know, chemtrails, because that's what he's talking about. Spraying crap into the atmosphere to reflect the sunlight to cool the temperature of the earth. You know, so
I remember in the 70s when they were talking about putting coal dust across the North and South poles to melt the ice caps.
Right. So what is it? Is it
This
a
stuff
fear tactic?
changes all the time. I don't know. Or they just have so much hubris that they think that they can play God. Because let me tell you, as soon as they do something, it's going to backfire. It always
Yep.
does.
Yep.
You cannot play God. Let God be God,
Right.
or let the
Or
universe,
nature be nature.
let nature
Whatever.
be nature, whatever the heck you believe in.
Right.
But don't you dare play God.
Right.
The sheer hubris of it is just ridiculous.
Uh-huh. It absolutely is. And I think people are catching on. I really do. I can't help but in my gut believe that people are tired of this, and that's where the communities have to come together again. Mark and I, we've been huge on communities here recently, building your community up. But so it's climate change. Because I've got articles and stuff. I'm not going to worry about it, but I've got articles up talking about climate change, controlling the population to reduce carbon emissions. And I'm not talking about just going out outright killing people. And maybe in some instances, okay, that could probably be argued. But if they control the reproductive rates of humans, for example, China,
Yeah, that was disastrous for their economy.
it was, for the longest time, China limited their people to one person or one birth to the family. And then any other than that, I spoke to a gentleman from China who came over to where we work at so we could teach them how we were working on airplanes, because there was some foreign deal that they would produce some of these airplanes over in China, under our name, whatever, but because that's the only way the Chinese government would sign on to letting us sell aircraft over there. But I was talking to a guy from China, normal average day person like the rest of us. And his exact comment, we were talking about it. He said, no, if a woman gets pregnant a second time, they go in and cut the baby out and sterilize her, so she can have no more children. And this was, I don't know, 9-10 years ago, maybe something like that. But Mark, you brought that it's backfired. Their population is aging, but they don't have the surplus population to to keep the nation going like it needs to go.
Yeah, now they're saying you better have 3.
Right. So
it's crazy.
It is. Then you can get into talking about Margaret Sanger and all that, the eugenics programs. She was. And what's sad is we taught Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
How to kill people.
Well, and Sanger was an admirer. Yeah. That's crazy stuff. And the United States and Canada, they're not guilty either.
Nope.
In 2018, 60 Indigenous Canadian women alleged that they had suffered forced sterilizations and filed a class action lawsuit. And in the United States, over 70,000 individuals were forcibly sterilized in the 20th century under eugenic legislation. So, 1 out of 4 U.S. Native American women underwent sterilization, with that figure rising as high as 50% between 1970 and 76. These are facts.
Facts.
This is stuff that has been done by the good guys, supposedly. Just think what the bad guys have been up to.
Right. I mean, you look at Mao, you look at Stalin, you look at, all these guys, Of course, Hitler, with the Holocaust. And there's people that deny that.
Yeah.
There's people that deny the Holocaust ever happened. And that's what blows my mind. I'm going to read this article real quick. It's from the BBC. All right. So y'all can't say I'm getting my news from one source. Actually, I'm going to share this because I feel it's important. Title of the article is Population Control. Is it a tool of the rich? Okay, so red flag to me right now is they're pointing fingers at rich people. Okay, I disagree with that. But the article is actually pretty decent. It said the temperature is some 30 degrees Celsius. The humidity is stifling. The noise unbearable. In a yard between two enormous tea drying sheds, a number of dark-skinned women patiently sit, each accompanied by an unwieldy-looking cloth sack. They're clad in colorful saris. I don't know. I think that's a saris. Saris. I don't know. Saris. Okay, but look tired and shabby. This is hardly surprising. They have spent most of the day in nearby plantation fields picking tea that will net them around 2 cents a kilo, barely enough to feed their large families. Vivek Bade thinks he knows how to help them. He runs the Mission for Population Control, a project in eastern India which aims to bring down high birth rates by encouraging local women to get sterilized after their second child. Did we not just talk about this?
Yeah, that didn't work.
It was not India, but as the world reaches an estimated 7 billion people, people like Vivek say efforts to bring down the world's population must continue if life on Earth is to be sustainable, and if poverty and even mass starvation are to be avoided. There is no doubting their good intentions. Vivek, for instance, has spent his own money on the project and is passionate about creating a brighter future for India, but critics allege that campaigners like Vivek, a successfully and wealthy male businessman, have tended to live very different lives from those they seek to help, who are mainly poor women. These critics argue that rich people have imposed population control on the poor for decades, and they say such coercive attempts to control the world's population have often backfired and were sometimes harmful. Then population scare. Most historians of modern population control trace its roots back to the Reverend Thomas Malthus, an English clergyman born in the 18th century, who believed that humans would always reproduce faster than the Earth's capacity to feed them. Giving succor, I don't know, to the resulting desperate masses would only imperil everyone else, he said. So the brutal reality was that it was better to let them starve. Rapid agricultural advances in the 19th century proved his main premise wrong, because food production generally more than kept pace with the growing population. But the idea that the rich are threatened by the desperately poor has cast a long shadow into the 20th century. From the 1960s, the World Bank, the UN, and a host of independent American philanthropic foundations such as Ford and Rockefeller foundations began to focus on what they saw the problem of burgeoning third world numbers. They believed that overpopulation was the primary cause of environmental degradation, economic underdevelopment, and political instability. Massive populations in the third world were seen as presenting a threat to Western capitalism and access to resources, says Professor Betsy Hartman of Hampshire College, Massachusetts, in the U.S. The view of the South is very much put in this Malthusian framework. It becomes just as powerful ideology, she says. In 1966, President Lyndon Johnson warned that the U.S. might be overwhelmed by desperate masses, and he made U.S. foreign aid dependent on countries adopting family planning programs. Other wealthy countries, such as Japan, Sweden, and the UK, also began to devote large amounts of money to reducing third world birth rates. Now, I got a question. Why is it always third world countries?
Because they can't defend themselves.
I would agree with that. I was going to say, because
run their little experiments.
And I'll just say his name, Bill Gates. He's notorious for trying shit out in Africa.
I mean, that's what they say.
Right.
And actually, anytime he says it, has been deleted from the internet. You try to go find the videos.
Right.
This video has been deleted. This video that
Right.
should tell you something right there. This video has been deleted. This video that we're doing right now is probably going to be deleted.
Probably.
We'll have to put it over on
Rumble.
Rumble.
I mean, I think we're gonna have to switch over there anyway, dude. I really do.
I really do.
I mean, if we get hit again, we're gonna be banned for a week anyway. So
Yeah, well, you know.
that just tells me we're right over the target.
That's right. The flack's coming in. We're over the target.
Right. Let's see. Unmet need. What virtually everyone agreed was that there was a massive demand for birth control among the world's poorest people. And that if they get their hands on reliable contraceptives, runaway population growth might be stopped. But with the benefit of hindsight, some argue that this is so-called unmet need theory put disproportionate emphasis on birth control and ignored other serious needs. Let's see. It was a top-down solution, says Mohan Rao, a doctor and public health expert from Delhi's Jawaharlal. I can't speak Indian. Some university over there.
I can't speak English, damn it.
I know it. Don't be throwing out those other words in the way. There was an unmet need for contraceptive services, of course, but there was also an unmet need for health services and all kinds of other services which did not get attention. The focus became contraception. Did you notice? I'm going to backtrack for a second. Did you notice who was involved in this? LBJ.
Yes.
Then you got the Ford and the Rockefeller foundations.
Mm-hmm. Rich people.
Right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Instead, okay, I'm skipping around here. Yeah, instead, government should concentrate on drastically reducing population growth. He said financial assistance should be given only to those nations with a realistic chance of bringing birth rates down. Compulsory measures were not to be ruled out. Western experts and local elites in the developing world soon imposed targets for reductions in family size and used military analogies to drive home the urgency, says Matthew Conley, a historian of population control at Columbia University. I can't speak English. I just proved it.
Yeah, I mean,
they spoke of a war on population growth, fought with contraceptive weapons. He says the war would entail sacrifices and collateral damage. Such language betrayed the lack of empathy with their subjects, says Miss Germain. People didn't talk about people. They talked about acceptors and users of family planning. Critics of population control had their say at the first ever UN population conference in 1974. Karen Singh, India's health minister at the time, declared that development is the best contraceptive. But just a year later, Miss Singh's government presided over one of the most notorious episodes in the history of population control. In June 1975, the Indian premier Indira Gandhi declared a state of emergency after accusations of corruption threatened her government. Her son Sanjay used the measure to introduce radical population control measures targeted at the poor. The Indian emergency lasted less than 2 years, but in 1975 alone, some 8 million Indians, mainly poor men, were sterilized. Yet for all the official programs and coercion, many poor women kept on having babies. I think I'm done with this article. There's more to go, but you get the point.
Hey, in that vein, I just want to. I lost the link here. But did you see where Planned Parenthood was trying to distance itself from Margaret Sanger, their founder, by taking her name because of the eugenics thing, taking their name off the buildings? And what was it? One of the Wilson, maybe it was Woodrow Wilson Center, was taking its name off because they didn't want to be associated with his, even though they're following his policies, associated with his policies. Is it the Woodrow Wilson? which president was that? Dang it. I lost that whole link.
He's the guy that was responsible for like the IRS and all this
Yeah.
other bullcrap, the central banking system. Yeah, not a good dude. He was hugely progressive. Yeah, not a good dude at all. Talking about sterilization. This might become a touchy subject, but we're no stranger to that. Let's follow logic. I know that's a rare word these days. Why the big push on teaching kids that it's okay to want to be a different gender?
Because they're trying to get them to remove themselves from the gene pool voluntarily.
Right, because if especially California is huge right now with it. They're saying that kids can come and start their treatment and all that to change genders and all of that.
They can't
Well,
even
they
change
start
their own
giving
underwear on a regular basis. How could
right. Right. But if you think about it, if you look at these drugs that are given to them, puberty blockers and all this crap, it sterilizes these kids.
exactly
It ruins these kids. But
ruins
it's
their
being
lives?
pushed. It does. It absolutely does.
And they're coming out. A lot of these kids are coming out and they're being blocked. They're coming out and saying, "I ruined my life." And then as soon as they say that, they're banned. "Oh, you're a hater."
No.
I was the kind of person you're trying to push, and it ruined my life.
Yep.
So now I'm the hater? You ruined my life by telling me it
Yep.
was okay.
Right. I truly believe that is a form of population control. I absolutely
don't doubt
do.
it. Now that I think about it, that really explains a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you're taking young minds all the way down to grade school level children.
Yeah.
The kids that can't make up their mind if they're Iron Man or the Hulk in one day. Kids that live in a fantasy world. They do. I mean, I watch my children, and if you watch any child at that age, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I mean, in their formative years, they live in a fantasy world. And they're extremely influenced by adults.
All the way through junior high here.
Right. And you got these people. Who's this? Facebook user. Yes, absolutely. I love that movie. You guys need to watch it. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who's posting here. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh, my wife. Hey, for some reason it's not popping up as her. Maybe she got blocked. Yeah. What is a Woman is an amazing movie by Matt Walsh. Go watch that movie. It opens so many eyes. It opened my eyes hugely. And I mean, yeah, oh yeah. My wife. It's me, your wife. Yeah, for some reason it keeps popping up Facebook user. But yeah, that is such an amazing movie, and it explains everything we're talking about. The number of people that are in pure denial that it has any significant impact on these young people's lives. And it blows my mind, and it'll blow your mind. It really will, because the number of and the people that get short of violent just because he's asking a tough question.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, go look it up and read it or watch it. It's an amazing movie. It's a really good movie. I mean, kids are confused as it is, especially going into puberty. It's a confusing time in your life. And that's where we go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
I Your whole life is confusing. That's the whole deal with life. There's no reason to mix it up some more. Let's just
Yeah.
put everybody's life in a blender and see what comes out.
Right. Let's add more confusion. Yeah, my wife, they get so defensive like instantly. Yes, absolutely they do. It, it is. It's a confusing time. You know, like you said, Mark, life is confusing. Half the time I don't know whether I'm coming or going. But
Right?
as a kid, man, I mean, you guys, I mean, everybody, whether you're a teacher or a minister or a parent, especially a parent, if you are supporting your child into this, you really need to be looked at hard. That's my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, there is a mental condition named after this
Yeah.
called gender dysphoria, and we're trying to take a mental condition
And make it normal.
and make it mainstream and make it normal because
Well,
it's part of the agenda.
it just proves that even though they're starting to lose some of their influence, the mainstream media and Hollywood and the powers that be are still able to. I'm sorry, I don't mean I don't mean this as an insult. It's easy to affect the views of the uneducated or uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It just evaporated.
Undereducated.
But they're weak-minded.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm trying to insult anybody or anything, but it's they're taking advantage of people.
Right.
The gullible, that's a better word.
Right. You know, but this takes me back to our background character show, you know, our NPC show.
People just do what they're told.
They just do what they're told. Oh yeah, I'm good with it. They don't think things through. I mean, if you disagree with me, but you've thought this through and determined that, hey, you know, this is what I agree with this. Fair enough. As long as you've thought it through and looked at all aspects of the ramifications for the individuals that are going through this. It's a mental issue. I can't remember the stat, but I know there is one out there. Suicide rates rise exponentially
They're astronomical.
with people that have went through this change because it's not what they thought it was going to be.
No.
So how about this? I mean, how about a solution to this? I mean, this is what the show is about, but it is in a way because it's a win-win for whoever's pushing this crap.
Yeah. They get
How
what they
about
wanted one way or the other.
Right. So how about send this individual through counseling? How about make, you know, okay, it's available. You're an adult. Fair enough. You can make your own damn decisions. I don't care.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, I can't stop you.
Right. But stop pushing it on kids is my biggest thing. But how about send the individual through counseling first? Let's say, hey, let's sort this out. Is this a real feeling or is this an issue? What brings you to
You're
this?
just
You know,
trying to fit in.
right. And I truly believe that's what a lot of it is. It's so mainstream. Everybody wants to be in the in crowd.
Right. And then they're willing to risk their sanity and their lives to be
right
in the in crowd.
Right. I've got another theory I'll share here in a minute, but send them through counseling. Okay. And if the counselor's like, okay, this individual truly believes this, it's not a mental condition, you know, if beyond a shadow of a doubt, just like court, you know, let's see, I think my wife, data indicates that 82% of transgender individuals have considered killing themselves and 40% have attempted suicide, with suicidally was suicidality highest among transgender youth. Using minority stress theory and the interpersonal theory of suicide, this study aims to better understand suicide risk among transgender youth.
Well, the man who invented the sex change operation did it as a way to treat people with mental illness. And he stopped doing it because he realized he was making their lives worse.
Right.
So
Now,
that should tell you something.
I know my wife's listening. I can't remember the names. It's in, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and post the link. It's on What is a Woman. Talks about two doctors who basically groomed a set of twins. There was one that if I remember right, they were led to live. He was let live a normal life. The other, they convinced him that he was transgender. This was in the 50s or 60s, and sent him through the whole process to become a woman. Now, if I remember right, he died young. I don't remember 100%. Watch that movie. It is truly mind blowing. Anyway, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I said, it might just be my opinion, but I think my opinion is probably pretty close to the fact.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all. But it's a hot button issue. And now, with the woke and all that crap, that you're going to get blackballed if you do exactly what we've done tonight and speak out against it.
Oh yeah. We're probably going to get pulled down.
Probably. My wife said one guy's last name was Money. Yeah, I can't remember the rest of it, but I know he talks about him in What is a Woman. I don't know. It blows my mind, and I truly believe it's part of this whole depopulation agenda.
I think you're right.
I really do.
I didn't put it together until you said it, but I believe you're right.
Because if you can control the younger generations, you don't have to worry about it, because us older generations are going to die off. That's why there's such a huge indoctrination campaign for young adults in high school, colleges, high schools. And that's been going on for a long time. No, this isn't anything new for the indoctrination part. But now you're getting into where a lot of these college professors, on that movie, one of those college professors, it was a guy teaching women's transgender studies or some crap like that. You have people denying their eyes. Come on, people. Wait.
Yeah, they're denying facts.
Right.
These kids are killing themselves.
Yeah.
Over a decision that they were manipulated into making.
Right. And what kills me is it absolutely it is. I agree. What kills me is a lot of these kids' parents are pushing it on them.
Yes.
Or I've heard of one story. Was this guy up in Canada? Maybe I know there was another story in Texas. It's kind of the same thing, but this husband and wife got divorced. Well, they had a son together, and the kid's mother is pushing on this young boy that no, you're a girl, and the dad's tried to stop it, and the court stepped in and said, you have no authority in this, and basically made court ordered cut ties with his child because the whole system's woke.
Yeah, but fortunately, we're seeing in the world, go woke, go broke. The people who are trying to make these changes are putting themselves out of business. Look at Disney,
and that's a great thing. Yeah,
Disney is playing Russian roulette with a loaded 6-shooter. There's no empty spaces. They are just shooting themselves in the noggin.
And that pisses me off because there's a lot of great shows on there.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
I
can do
dropped
it when they
Disney
want
Plus.
to.
Yeah, I dropped Disney Plus because of this crap. And there's so many shows on there I want to watch, but I know they're going to be loaded with this bull crap. I haven't watched a new Marvel movie,
No,
and I was
me
a
neither.
huge fan.
I'm not going
I
to
haven't
either.
watched. No, I'm not either. I'm not going to watch any of it. Netflix, I dropped it when they started talking about cuties and all that crap, pushing all these kids. And no, stay the hell away from my kids. Plain and simple. I mean, I don't know. This show's kind of turned into a soapbox episode, but I think it's all tied in with population control. You have the climate, you have the warmonger or the saber rattling. I think it's all tied together. I really do. They're trying to reduce the population of the world. Not to mention what that the article you read last was it Wednesday on Weird News Wednesday on the Fringe, where you're talking about the new strain of coronavirus that they developed.
Yeah, that the University of Boston developed a version of corona with an 80% mortality rate.
Right.
Why? Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my wife posted John Money and Alfred Kinsey. Look those guys up. Look them up, and you'll see the correlation to what we're talking about here. My wife, she's also posted, if you really dig into the history behind these men, it's hard to stomach. It absolutely is. It is tough. And this was like, I can't remember what years, it was 50s or 60s or something like that. And it's tough. But this was the start of all this bull crap. Now what I truly believe this is, and I've said this many times, I believe it is spiritual warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely 100% spiritual warfare. And it doesn't matter what, if you believe in the God of the Christians or the Jews or whatever.
Or even just the universe in general.
Yeah. This is spiritual warfare.
Yeah. It's good.
I've been saying this for a long time. Yep. I've been saying this for a long time. If you look in again, I'm not trying to push my beliefs down your throat. I'm not. But if you look at the book of Revelations or any kind of prophecy on the end times, it flat out says that in the end days or end times, good will be bad and bad will be good. Take a step back and look.
Here's something. Just look back in time at the Roman Empire. Look at what happened to them. Look what's happening to us. It's the same. I can't remember who made the quote, but somebody had a quote out the other day. It says, the only thing that I have learned from history is that people don't learn from history.
That's absolutely right, man. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
It blows your mind.
Read a freaking book.
I know. You have, and what's amazing is I heard a deal. What day? It was one day last week. Was talking about colleges and how uneducated they're coming out of college. How uneducated, how the lack of education in college is affecting the students because of all this bull crap. You go to college, you send your kids to college, and God forbid, I mean, my son who's there, I mean, he falls for this crap, or whatever. But they're getting mad, a lot of these institutions, because kids aren't going to college as much anymore.
No, it's not doing any good.
No, in my opinion, if you really think about it, what is taught at college, I've got at the tip of my fingers. Yeah. Everything. If I want to know something, I've got a freaking handheld computer. I can look up anything that I want and make up my own mind.
You want to know what I was told in a job interview? And it's been 15 20 years ago. So it's probably even more true today. He told me that my 1985 high school diploma was worth more as far as education went than anybody coming out of a 2 or 4-year college currently. This
Oh,
was
absolutely agree.
this was quite a while back, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the old tests of like the 8th grade education tests?
Yeah,
You
compared
know,
to
from
what they're
100
giving
years
them now.
ago?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. Y'all go look one of those up. I mean, look one of those old tests up. It'll blow your mind. I can't answer all the questions.
yeah,
Not without looking something up. And these kids were expected to know that. You know, and that's why a lot of students, you know, you hear a lot of them saying, well, I didn't make it past the 8th grade. I dropped out of school after the 8th grade. Well, shit, back then in 8th grade education
was actually something.
was actually something. It was actually more than what a high school education, or I would even argue a college education is now.
Definitely more than a 2-year right now.
Yeah. The wife put, that's why they got out of the schools and they pulled the Pledge of the Allegiance. So now we have God and no love of country. It's sad. It is sad. Absolutely, it
It
is.
is, and that's why we have a Department of Education is to make sure that all this happens.
Right. I really think that's where the downfall really began, was when the Department of Education was instituted.
Yeah, anytime you put the government in charge of anything, they're going to, pardon my almost French, F it up.
Yep. Yep. You're absolutely right. I think. I mean, then comes along Bush Jr. institutes the No Child Left Behind policy
Yeah, that
all the way up
sucks.
to high school. You know, well, he's behind, so we're just going to keep him moving forward. So now he's going to struggle to learn what he didn't learn last year, but he's going to struggle to catch up and learn what he's got to learn this year. It's just a domino effect. And then he gets to college and he can't read.
Mhm. One of the main, guys who developed the whole, Common Core thing
Oh,
said
yeah.
on a YouTube video, which has been taken down, I tried looking for it, uh, that Common Core wasn't about bringing up the poor students, it was about holding down the good students to keep them equal.
Right. Yep.
Why wouldn't you want your child, whether they're gifted or no, why would you not want your child to meet their potential?
Right.
Why?
I
It's
think that is
cruel.
a failure.
That's child's abuse.
It is 100%. But on that note, also, I think that is a failure on the parents as well.
It is,
And,
absolutely is, for allowing it.
and for allowing it, yes. But I understand in some aspect because, you know, was it the 60s they started pushing, you know, this is going to sound sexist, not intending for it to be, but it's going to, but started pushing women out of the home and into the workplace. So the schools were left to raise the children.
I mean, yeah.
So they can pretty much get away with whatever they want to get away with, because how many
It's been
parents are engaged?
it's been federalized.
Right. And there's a reason for that. This isn't by accident.
It's part of that 100-year plan we were talking about the other day.
Right. And that's what my wife just said. It's part of the plan. It absolutely is. Absolutely. The breakup of the nuclear family.
Yeah, it's intentional.
If you don't believe me, go look it up. Man, this has been a soapbox episode from hell, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really is. We probably should wrap it up before the FBI comes and gets us. You see my head explode all over the monitor? It was the FBI.
I mean, I'm going to start bringing duct tape if we start going down more episodes.
So we don't lose the pieces when our heads blow up?
Exactly. I'm just wrap it up. That way the pieces are contained, at least. No, folks, if you stuck with us this long, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
If you hate us now, we're sorry, but, you know, we're not.
No. I just, man, I want to bring the truth out, because I truly believe the truth is the only thing that's going to save us.
or at least make you think about it.
Right.
Make your own minds up. The facts are
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. And
Search
if you
them
have
out.
an argument, and you disagree with us, by all means, you message us.
Yeah. If you've got a good argument, we'll have you on.
Yeah.
If you can
We'll
prove us
discuss it.
wrong, we'll have you on here. You can school us.
Yeah. By all means, I'm not opposed to changing my viewpoints.
But feelings aren't facts. Just remember
Right.
that before you start spewing your poison.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us and in the chat. We do appreciate it. It's been fun, believe it or not. I believe it's been a really good show.
I believe it was a
Espe-
valuable show for sure.
I do too, especially considering we didn't decide what we were talking about until like 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, but we've already talked about this amongst ourselves, so
Yep.
it was real
Yeah,
hard.
it's kind of a good rolling right into it because we've talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, just not on the show. We try to entertain some conspiracies. I'm not even going to say theories anymore because there's been so many things that we've talked about that
That's so
are
true.
coming to light. And we need to do another episode. Maybe there will not be a show next Monday because it's Halloween. But I've got some invites out. We're going to have Jess and Pam on next Sunday. We're going to do a show Sunday afternoon. I think Chad from the Chad Smith podcast is coming on. I believe Sonny is going to jump on with us. Hopefully we get a few more guys on. I'm going to send the invite out. I'm going to try to get my son on to give us some live music. We're just going to have a fun episode Sunday. We're going to talk Halloween. We're going to trade spooky stories, and some night or one day this week, I'm going to sit down and probably do a recording of The Telltale Heart, which is one of my favorite Edgar Allan Poe stories. Mark, I think, had mentioned he was going to do a story as well.
I want to do the Raven, but I don't want to overload on Poe.
I don't care. Poe is awesome, especially this time of year. That guy was so macabre, man. He really was.
The guy had problems, but man,
Yeah. I mean,
he had talent too.
Yeah, another one of my favorites, The Cask of Amontillado, is about burying this dude alive inside of a wall, man. I mean,
Pendulum. I mean,
oh yeah,
they were all.
yeah,
I mean, they were all great and slightly
disturbing.
disturbing.
What's amazing? I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. I love the old
Yes.
Twilight Zone shows.
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling was an amazing storyteller, and I just love them because they're so good. I mean, they're timeless stories.
And they stand the test of time.
Yeah. And I was watching one the other night, and Caleb, my young son, he was like, "Dad, this is kind of scary." I didn't think of it along that lines though, because of obviously I've been exposed to in my life, but trying to look at it through a younger child's eyes who haven't been exposed to a lot of that, I can see it. And at the time, that was considered kind of borderline
horror,
scary horror,
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch one of another favorite of mine is the original Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah.
That was such a good movie. Such a good movie. And then the campy 80s Night of the Living Dead kind of ruined that. But
Oh, I like the one about the zombie Nazis.
Right.
I really don't, but I mean it was kind of entertaining. Because they had a whole bunch of Nazi uniforms that they weren't using. Let's make a movie.
Right.
Zombie Nazis.
I'm kind of glad, we're getting past that trend, the whole zombie thing that was going on for like a decade, Walking Dead and all that stuff. I loved The Walking Dead at the time, but it kind of got
Thank
old
you,
and went
DARPA.
on. Right. Anyway, we're going down that rabbit hole, but yeah, come join us. We're going to do a live broadcast. I'm probably going to post it here in the next couple of days. Join us. If not, I'm going to try to have it posted up on anywhere you listen to your podcast at for Halloween, so you guys can hang out, listen to some spooky stories. I mean, what's better? I mean, than Halloween and spooky stories. mean, it doesn't get better than that.
It doesn't get any better
especially
than that.
especially when you got good friends hanging out. I mean, the only thing we're missing is being outside at night around a
Oh,
campfire.
the campfire, yeah.
You
Let's
know,
say
maybe we need
fire
to get
pit.
some. Yeah, maybe we need to get a fire sound effect or something going, playing in the background. You know, the whole campfire.
Oh, I bet we can do it.
We can find it.
I'll
But
bet we
anyway,
can find it.
yep. But I think it'll be a fun time, you know, and that's all it's going to be about. We want to, you know, we're going to have you guys on from Bordertown Paranormal. We're going to have, like I said, Chad from the Chad Smith podcast. I think he said he was going to join us. Sonny from
That'll be awesome.
Paranormal Chop Shop. Anybody else? Well, I'm going to send an invite out to a bunch of people. They want to join, great. You know, if not, that's fine too. It'll just be a group of friends just hanging out and sharing stories. But with that being said, folks, thanks again for listening. Don't forget about Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow. Help support the show. You know, we want to do a lot of things with it. We're trying to work towards the network, trying to get it going, but everybody's got so much going on right now. This will help. So if you would please, you know, buy us a coffee, you know. So with that being said, folks, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you Wednesday night. Don't forget about Wednesday night on the Fringe. And you can probably hear my dogs in the background.
That's spooky.
But anyway, folks, thanks again, and we'll catch you next episode.
Good night.